So, fellas, this one is for you. I typically speak towards women. However, the numbers don't lie. And statistically, 48% of men are also gaslit and emotionally abused in relationships. And that's a big deal. As a mom of boys, as a wife, and as a daughter of a man, I think it's really important that we also address what you guys are going through because there's a huge difference in the way you're treated and in what you feel like is okay to bring forward. And one of the things that I know from being around the men I've been around and the men that I have done therapy with is for women, it's okay to call up your girlfriend and cry on the phone and be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this to me and that to me." And women get those emotions out. Men struggle and just hold it down. And it's like, I got to do what I got to do. I'm the provider. I'm the man of the house. I'm this, I'm that. And those are all these cultural things that are put on you, so then when you're with somebody who is abusing you, where do you go? And dudes don't usually call up their other guy friends and say, "Oh my gosh, my wife is being so emotionally abusive today. My feelings are so hurt and I feel so sad." No, that's just not what men typically do. Even when you guys come to therapy, sometimes it takes me a full freaking year to get that information out because there's a lot of what I call masking, and it's like covering up because men have this image that they try to protect. I am the provider, I am the caretaker, I am the support system. That is what you guys do. And I know a lot of videos on narcissistic abuse and coercive control are aimed towards women and what women experience. But everything in every video that I talk about, even though I do typically say she experiences or he may do this or he may do that, I want to make it perfectly clear that it is not just women who experience this. And if you're a mom and you're, please pay attention because the relationships that your children are watching you in are what they're going to replicate and look for. So they're always being taught by the people around them, this is how a dad is, this is how a mom is. So if you're a mom and you're being abusive towards the dad or emotionally manipulative or scamming, doing some crazy shit out there, you want to make sure that your kids aren't seeing this because they're going to replicate it. So at some point, we have to look and say, okay, yes, I've been a victim of this type of relationship. What do I need to do to make sure that my children don't become the person who is doing this? Because sometimes when they see somebody who is vulnerable, they don't want to be the vulnerable person. That is just human instinct. They don't want to be that. So they're going to be the opposite. And then they are going to become the more aggressive person, the more firm person in the relationship. We can, in some ways, we can shape and mold what is happening. Because also, wouldn't you want, if your kid was going through something horrible or something devastating, wouldn't you want them to come and tell you? Wouldn't you want them to trust you enough that even if it took a year or 3 years or 4 years for them to come to you and say, "Mom, this is what I'm going through. Dad, this is what happened. I don't know what to do." And there's this guy, Dax. I don't know if anybody has seen his music, but oh my gosh, amazing. His song about what it's like to be a man, that hits in the heart. It hits. And there's so much that you guys carry, so much, and you just get up and you do it. and sometimes act like you don't experience anxiety or you can't have a panic attack. And the level of shame that builds on top of that, because it's like my image is supposed to be masculine and caretaker, but that doesn't mean you're not a human being. That doesn't mean that you don't experience social anxiety. It doesn't mean that you don't experience shame or trauma or negative emotions, which actually this is making me a little emotional. I have to be honest because like I'm a mom and I have sons and I see it. I see what some of these girls do. Like, I witness it firsthand, not only, like, what I hear in therapy, but what I see in my own circle, what I am experiencing in my own life. Guys, I see you, and I understand the relationship patterns, and I know how devastatingly quiet it can be because where do you go with that? Especially the older guys. The younger guys, you seem to be more comfortable having conversations with your friends and saying, "Hey, this just happened," and really calling out abuse. I'm gonna say you guys who are like 30 and up, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. I'm seeing you guys still do the same thing, which is push it down and push it down and push it down. And you're important too. What you're going through is just as important. Unfortunately, we were all designed very similar when it comes to emotion. And some emotions are exclusively human emotions, like the fact that we can cry tears. There's no other animal on the planet that cries tears that are emotion based. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I know, the last time I checked, the closest other living creature was an elephant, but even in that situation, the structure of the tears are different. When we cry because we're in pain or emotional pain, physical pain, something bad happened, funeral. When you cry those tears, they have a salty taste to them. And you'll see like they'll even leave like a salt trail down your face when they're also filled with carcinogens. So when you don't get them out, your body is reabsorbing those carcinogens that are trying to be cleaned out. And when you are laughing hysterically and you're crying tears of joy, or when you see your baby for the first time, those tears are saline and they don't have any taste. They're just tears. They're just like a water, like a release of the body. It doesn't matter, men, women, doesn't matter what you are, who you are, we're all designed that way. And we all feel emotion and we all feel pain. And the statistics are what they are. 48% of men will experience emotionally and physically abusive relationships. Now, is that number low? Possibly, because how often does it get reported? How often are you guys talking about it? So, I just want to make sure you know anytime you watch my content, I'm speaking to both of you. I'm speaking to both sides of the equation here, not just one. And I wanted to clarify because you guys are very important, like very important to our country, to our world, to our society, to our children. We need you to be here and we need you to be able to show up and be a dad and teach your sons that emotion is okay, that you don't have to just suck it up and move on. And I get it. We all have to be able to function. We can't just be sitting around crying all day. I 100% stand behind that. It's not healthy either, but it's also equally not healthy to to pretend that you're not feeling something because depression will get you the same way it will get anybody else. And the same is true for anxiety and panic. And like gender doesn't eliminate anybody from experiencing emotional pain or thoughts. And actually, when we look at the I don't know what's I'm allowed to say, so I'm gonna say unaliving statistics, it's typically higher in men. Why do you think that is? Because there's nowhere safe for you guys to go. I mean, it seems like there's nowhere safe for you to go. There are safe places for you to go. Therapists are available to you, and we come in all different shapes, sizes, educational backgrounds. Like, we are here. There are support groups, and I get it. Like, I'm not gonna go do that thing. Like, I hear it all the time. It's okay if you don't want to be exposed and in a group setting or something, but we've got to stop drowning ourselves in drugs, in alcohol, in behaviors like you're feeling suffocated, and then there's cheating, and that goes on both sides, men and women. We need to talk. We need to actually have a conversation about it. I don't wanna make this too long because y'all don't watch the whole damn video anyway, but that's another thing. But anyway, but I did wanna point out that I do see you guys, I do see you being manipulated, and I mean, if it's helpful, I'm gonna start making content on that as well because I don't want to come across as somebody who is only seeing one side of the story, because that's absolutely not true, and I could tell you as a mom, it breaks my heart both directions. It doesn't matter. Whenever I see any of my kids being hurt by somebody, it hurts. Those are my kids, and the only way that we can actually make a difference and change that is we gotta be honest. We gotta be honest about our situation, and we have to teach our kids. We have to show up for them. And it's very difficult to show up for your kid when you yourself are living in survival, when you yourself pretend that these things aren't happening, or it's not that bad, or she's just got her period, or no, we need to stop the excuses. And part of being a man outside of everything else that you guys do, it is also emotional vulnerability and availability to your children, because you might not be able to correct your situation right now, but you can help them to not become the person who is abusing you, and you can teach them what it's like to not get lost in a relationship. We've got to stop this nonsense of choosing partners over choosing children. And that's just it. All right. So that's what I got. Hopefully, y'all watch this to the end because you usually don't. Anyway, subscribe, share, leave me a comment. If the content interests you and you want me to go deeper into guy situations, which is also helpful for moms because you're raising boys too, just let me know. Then leave me a comment and I'll get to work on it. All right. Thanks.